Loading, loading, loading. And here's where.
I'm here to help you. Senwa. We're back. We found her. We found you. We thought. Where have you been? Here she is. Don't worry. We're here to help you. You don't have to do this on your own anymore. You need us. We were worried. We're here to help you. You need us. So worried. Silence is lonely. We didn't know where you'd gone. We're here to help you. Don't worry. You can trust us. Trust us. Senwa, it's us. We won't leave you. Don't leave us. We're here to stay.
The voices have finally become supportive.
She needs our help. She always does. We found you. Here she is. We're back. Don't worry, Senwa. We'll look after you. Don't worry, We'll make sure you're safe. She's safe now. You're always safe with us. She has us. You've done so well, Senwa. Come so far. Listen, Senwa. Listen. You've done so well. Listen to us. You. Listen, Senwa. We're here. We'll help you. We're here to help you. We'll help you go even further than you've been before. You don't have to do this alone.
Is this one I can't climb? Oh, that's a dead end. I'm just exploring a little. Oh, I guess that's it.
There's a door. You can do it. You can see it. Come on, Senwa.
Go away. I'm not listening.
The darkness is here.
Towards your death.
I will tell you of a great hero named Sigurd, son of Sigmund, no less. Born after his father's death, Sigurd is cared for by the dwarf Rain. But Rain does not love the boy. Instead, he plans to use him for his own ends. You see, Rain's father possessed a great treasure given to him by the gods. But Rain's brother, Fafnir, killed his father and took the gold all for himself. Fafnir hid the treasure out on a heath and could not leave it. And from the evil in his heart, he turned into a dark creature, a dragon.
It can see you. But you can feel it.
Something's behind the door.
What is it?
She can feel it.
No.
Don't open the door.
No, go in. Don't.
What's in there?
A great beast guards Helheim. Garm is its name, and it knows you are here, Senua. It can smell your stink. What are you afraid of, Senua? How will you save Dillion if you are too much of a coward to step into the shadows?
They can't stop me.
Then do it!
She can't make it.
The beast is stalking you from the shadows. Your sword is useless here.
Run, 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 run.
Don't be fooled. The beast is still here.
Who is it? Something there. It's the beast.
No,
No, it's not.
it's a trick.
She knows that. Does she? What is that voice?
Mother, do you hear that?
Don't fall for it.
It's me, Senua. It's so loud.
It's not her.
So full of hate.
It's a trap.
Just want to help them. Tell me what to do. Your father wants them to go away. And he only hurts me to silence them. But he's gone now.
They always come back. He says I will die if I go with them. They say that I'm already dead.
No,
And they want me with them.
stop.
That's why they crawl through the walls.
Don't listen
Do you
to them.
see them? Do you see their faces? He's coming.
Senua, help me. Help, get me out of here. Don't go.
Where has she gone? She's disappeared again.
She shouldn't be here. She escaped the darkness. She took her own life to escape it.
She can't remember when it started. When her mother lost her smile. Her eyes gazing past her towards a world she could not see. This is what happens if you reach for the underworld, he said. It was a lot to take in for a child. And the first time she felt the cold chill of fear. I don't talk much about her father, Zinbel. I suppose I just didn't want to risk upsetting her. But it doesn't matter now, does it?
torch is going out. No, it's not. It's going out soon. She hasn't got much time. Out. She's too slow. It's not going to burn out. The darkness will come again. Stay light. Stay later.
I think that's the P there, right? There it is.
Hidden in plain sight. She has it. You have it. Keep going. Where's the next? Do you want to fight, Cleveland? Do you want to fight? These pointless rules. Time. These symbols are pointless. Others. What if you collect them and there's nothing behind the door? Save Dillian. This is just another trial. Just another trick. Just to distract her from her real mission. You think you know, but you don't. Your mother is not anything. Or is she? Dillian is dead.
I'm back out.
The light won't save her now. She can sense it. Shh. What's she doing? She's lighting the torch. It's not gonna help her. She's lighting the fire. Wait. Send.
Man.
Don't give up.
Really?
You can't go anywhere without your light. Take the torch and move.
Well, no, I wanted you to light the other torch. way is which.
The beast has been here. Everywhere. Must be here. There's water. Just go. Keep going.
She'll have to go under.
She has to. She can't. I told you to go out. Don't go out.
There's light in the distance. She has to keep going, go towards the light. She can use her time to get through that.
Don't listen to the beast.
The darkness will come for you.
She can do it.
She can't do it. No.
The light's gone out. Run! Get through it as quick as you can. The panic is on.
You have to rest here on the side. She's stuck. She hasn't found the rooms. Stay. Get the next light. Let's go quick. Run.
Look. Fire.
How would she get it?
Fire.
She has to go towards it. She needs to go back down.
The light.
She will.
She will. Take it. It'll keep you safe. You can see how she can find the room. She can find it. Be the light. See it.
She has light. Where is it?
Let me
Now you're free to search.
unlock this. Alright, let's go back into the basement with the creepy.
Rain the dwarf's sole desire is to possess this dragon's accursed treasure, and he uses Sigurd to reclaim it. He tells Sigurd the story of Fafnir's gold, and the good-hearted hero promises to slay the dragon if Rain would forge a strong sword for him. Sigurd remembers that his father once possessed a sword given to him by Odin. Odin broke the sword to bring about Sigmund's death, but Sigurd's mother still has the pieces. And so Rain reforges the famed sword. Sigurd uses the sword first to avenge his father, and then he and Rain go in search of Fafnir.
There it is.
Where is it? She has it. She did it. She's done it.
This place. It reminds her of the isolating, suffocating darkness that she lived through as a young girl. Imprisoned in her room at night, the faces in the dark, coming through the walls. She once thought everyone could see them. I mean, that's what children say all the time, isn't it? That there are monsters in the dark. By the time she realized that only she could see them, her father, Zinbel, could see the monster in her.
Is there a direction I haven't gone? No, I already went down. I already went up. Have I been here? I've been here. Have I? Yes, I have been here. That's upstairs. Oh, I didn't see the things show up here before.
There it is. You have all the rooms.
Do you feel it? The beast is crawling into your mind, searching for weakness. It found your mother and used her to trap you in here.
Did you see her die? I don't remember. I was only 5. They told me she escaped the darkness, that she's with the gods. But what if they lied? What if the darkness took her and trapped her here?
Let's go through. She'd get her mother out. Ah, mother doesn't. Where is it? It's just another trick. Don't go towards her. Stupid girl. Where is she? She's gone.
It's a trap. The beast is coming.
Are you kidding me?
You've lost it. It's over. Without his head, you will never bring his soul back. His fate is sealed.
Well, that sucks.
Now it can see you at your weakest. The time you suffered as a child at the hands of your father Zindo while you pined for Gideon. Do you remember that darkness, Senua? The beast is bringing it back.
Mother, why did you leave me? This darkness, it's spreading. Father's keeping me away from the others. Away from Tilly. I won't give up. I'm not going to rot in here. I'm going to find Tilly.
Give me torch.
Keep going. Take the light. Keep going.
The beast is down there.
No. She knows the beast is there. He's always watching you. The beast is there. You're never safe from him. You can. She needs to find it. She's grounded. She's lost it and she has to find it. I can feel it. Where is it? Keep the torch alight. Can you see? She's got heat. Where is she? Your eyes up. You're never going to find me.
Oh, really? Okay, how many more do I have to fight? Go backwards. No! Attack the one nearest to me. Oh, man. Just when I think I have one left. Nope. Where's the other guy? Get away from the door.
You can do this. Focus. You're stronger than him. Get focus. Focus now. Finished.
Well, it's about time. Yep. I bet you can see it from the other side. Dang it. I like having my torch and light.
But she wouldn't listen. He was doing his best. She never, ever listens. Why didn't she listen to him? Trying to help her. He was trying to save her from the darkness.
Zinbel was right. Zinbel was trying to save her from the darkness.
But she wouldn't listen. And now everybody is dead. Because of her. It's all her fault.
All her fault.
Weak. She should have known. She should have.
Why doesn't she learn? When she learns.
She doesn't understand.
Now the darkness has Dillian's soul.
And it will take it and never give it back.
She can search and search, but she will never find it.
She's let the darkness in. It's the end.
The darkness will take her like it took her mother.
She can't resist. Pointless even trying to retrieve it. She's lost.
She's got to go deeper to find the head. Deeper towards the darkness.
The beast is there.
Well, before I thought there was a way to go up here, so before I jump down,
Darkness.
which is probably another battle.
The beast has the head.
Got the head. She will be trapped.
The beast has the head and he's using it.
Once she gets down there, she'll never come out. It's luring her down.
The darkness will take her like it took her mother.
Deep.
The dragon Fafnir is so large and deadly that it would be impossible to kill him face to face. But each day, Fafnir crawls across the heath to find water. So Sigurd digs a pit in the dragon's path and lies in wait in it. When Fafnir slithers overhead, Sigurd sinks his sword into the dragon up to the hilt. Sigurd leaps from the pit, and Fafnir sees his killer. He warns Sigurd that the treasure will lead to his death, as it led to the death of all who owned it. Sigurd replies that death comes to all men, and every man would want to be wealthy until that day. And he takes the treasure.
She was never here. It was all an illusion. Why did you fall for it?
Okay, now I can go down.
She never learns. The beast.
I love the mythology that they're explaining.
It's between reality and illusion.
He knows how to play with her.
He knows how to draw her where he wants her.
Okay, I think there's going to be another battle down
He's
here.
using you.
So, let me stretch out my hands.
The darkness in you. Where is she now?
The darkness killed your mother.
Where is she now? Where is she?
She's here. The darkness will kill you.
Okay, we're on that bottom level where...
Take you.
Eventually. What really happened to her?
Your mother was weak like you are. Her mother was weak like she is.
So
The darkness took her, and it will take Senua too.
it's just a matter of time. She just lets the darkness in, lets it take over. You've got to be strong. The lights run out. She'll die. She'll die. She has to. She can't. She's going to go through anyway. The darkness. And she'll die.
You know what? I think I have to light the other thing on the other side. I have to go through the water. I don't know.
Stop!
But the light is over here. Well, where's the light on the other side over there? You know, if she was smart, she'd just throw the torch right through here. Can I drop the torch? And then walk through. You're telling me that this super athletic girl just can't climb up there and light that up.
Although Sigurd kills the dragon, Rain wants to keep Fafnir's gold all for himself. Rain also wants the strength and wisdom of the dragon, so he drinks its blood and asks Sigurd to roast Fafnir's heart for him. Sigurd does so, but when he touches the roasted heart to see if it is done, he burns his finger. Without thinking, he licks his finger and tastes the dragon's blood. In that moment, he understands the language of birds and hears them talk nearby.
Okay, so where do I run to get into light on this side? That's blocked off. It has to be down there somewhere. I'm so confused. Should we try this again? Because it's gonna freak me out. But the light is right there. Has to be down that way somewhere. Because it's not up there. Okay, shall we make a run for it again?
Get up! Get up! What are you doing?
But there's light right there. But literally, that's light. So where do I have to go? I don't know where I'm going. I'm so confused. There's something that way? Sorry, I just needed to get a drink. Okay. Let's... I don't know what I'm missing. Oh. Ha! There was something over here the whole time.
What's she doing?
She's lighting the torch.
She's making a fire.
She's got light on the other side.
She'll be safe. What's the plan? What's she thinking?
Now she can.
Oh. And the symbol's there now. Do I not have the room symbol in my head now? I guess I lost it before.
She can't help but think of him. A tender guiding flame in a world so black. The longer it burned, the more she convinced herself that there was nothing beyond its reach. How little separates us from what we fear.
Does so. But when he touches the roasted heart to see if it is done, he burns his finger. Without thinking, he licks his finger and tastes the dragon's blood. In that moment, he understands the language of birds and hears them talk nearby.
I'm missing a part of the story. I guess I died. Oh my gosh. Really? This game's freaking me out.
It's so close. The torch will go out. The beast.
Sigurd's newfound power lets him hear the birds speak. And they say, Sigurd should eat the heart himself. Rain wants Fafnir's gold. Sigurd should kill Rain before Rain kills him. Sigurd should find Brynhild the Valkyrie, who sleeps an enchanted sleep. Sigurd heeds the bird's advice. He kills Rain, eats Fafnir's roasted heart, and takes Fafnir's treasure. And he embarks on a new quest, to ride to Hinderfell and find Brynhild the Valkyrie.
Okay, I think I'm caught up on this story so far. Oh, that's like, you know, foreboding. Okay, I guess we're gonna drop down. Damn it, hands.
I hear you. I'm coming for you.
You let the fire go out.
Cillian, I see you. The beast has Cillian. No. You're not taking him from me.
I warn you, Senua. I can smell your...
No.
You betrayed your god.
I am leaving with him.
You turned your back on me. That is why Dillion will rot in hell. Come into my shadow.
Get up! Did I die? Fudge. Dang it.
Quickly get up! They're coming! It's not over. It's not over. Crazy. We're winning. It's not over. Keep going.
Thank goodness. Oh, did you? Hi, welcome. Yeah, I have found these fights aren't necessarily the easiest.
People think of evil as an unnatural, invisible force, and so invoke the gods for protection. But evil can come from the hand behind the gods. A familiar hand, cold and cruel. He tried to fix her with his rituals, kept her trapped in that hole. She couldn't say which was worse. The darkness, or the monster that her father had become. She couldn't fight them both. And so she left, headed for the one ray of light that shone down on her.
So Twisted, did
If
you
she'd
finish the
stayed,
game?
She wouldn't have survived. But maybe Dillian would still be alive.
I'm so sorry, Layla.
Oh, did you?
She will save his soul. Even if this time she can't save her own.
I really want to finish just so I know how the story ends.
Forgive me, Senua. I know you have no reason to trust me anymore.
Shadow, listen.
But believe this. It was my mission to make you hate. To hate the darkness with a passion so great it would focus your mind on this quest. Without it. All this time, I've wanted to protect you from the truth that would have destroyed you a long time ago. But you have conquered your darkness at every turn.
I guess leading men have to be cute,
You
even if they
deserve
are
to
dead.
see behind the veil of darkness.
And take me to the mountain.
To trust him.
As deep as we can go.
I won't stand in your way.
She has to trust him.
You will not survive what is in there.
I know.
She's come this far. She wants to go. She wants this. She wants to save Dillian's soul. She must listen to Shadow. What? Hannah's gate. Hannah's gate. She's
Mother, I won't let the darkness trick me again. I know you're safe with the gods. I can feel Hela's gaze, searching for secrets inside of me. Secrets that even I can't see. I'm not here to fight my past. I'm here for Dillian. I will fulfill my vow, whatever the cost.
No, she can't. It's too dangerous. She has the soul. She is rotting. She is nearly dead. She must defeat her. There is no way she can defeat Hela. She must. Hela is powerful. She must. But she has the soul. Perhaps she can only Hela has Dillian's. She must speak to her. She must fight.
fight or she must go.
I really like it. It's been freaking me out though. Like the voices and her like panting and stuff like that just sometimes unnerves me.
She's done it before. She can't fix it. She's done it before. She can. She can. She'll do it again. How will she do it?
There must be a way.
We have to try. She'll never make it.
But since I knew this was like by the makers of like Heavenly Sword, I enjoyed Heavenly Sword.
The Northmen say the world will come to an end. They call this Ragnarok, the destiny of the gods. First, there will be a terrible winter, 3 years long. Then, mankind will turn on itself. Brothers will fight each other to the death, and people will forget what they owe their kindred. Times will be hard. Crimes will be great. It will be an age of axes and swords. The wind will blow through abandoned halls. Wolves will walk where children played. The world will fall into ruin.
Yeah, DMC was good too. I actually haven't finished that game. I started it, but my school schedule was very hectic, so I didn't get very far. I was, for Devil May Cry, I was like, it seems like they just restarted the whole story that existed. But the gameplay seems really fun. And I was enjoying just the, you know, the gameplay, just ignoring the rest of the story. Ah, I had to fight more things. Kitty, it's not the time for cuddles.
How will she do it? What will she do? How's she going to find his angel soul? Where does that little soul is? How's she get it? What will Helen want? She must bargain. No. She'll kill her. She cannot bargain with Helen. She's not strong enough to kill her. What does Helen want?
Yeah.
No one can bargain with Helen. What does Helen want? What can she give her? She could give her her own soul. No. She might die. It's a worthless soul. But it's all she has to give. She has a warrior's soul. What more can she give? A cursed soul. Of course she is, no matter what she does. She can fight her. She can fight her at Ragnarok.
Okay, I guess we'll go this way now.
She's coming as well. Hela will want to fight her. Her soul is valuable. Hela will want her soul. She can see it. The bridge. She can't cross the bridge. It's broken. She has to fix it. It's too dangerous. She's done it before. You have to fight her. We know. The final battle. Get his soul back. It's the final task. Yes, it is.
This isn't just a broken bridge, is it? Mother, you showed me how to see further. To see the hidden wonders in our world and explore new paths into the unknown. To lead so that others may follow, or to warn so that they may avoid. That is our gift and our duty. I'm not going to look away in fear anymore.
Was the boss battle with Hela hellish?
The Northmen say the gods will fight their last battle at Ragnarok. Their watchmen will blow the horn that can be heard through the whole world.
Oh.
And Odin will speak with the severed head of Mimir, which gives him good counsel. The land of the giants will thunder with the sound of their army on the move. The gods will assemble. The dwarves will leave their stones. The frost giants will come from the east. The Midgard serpent will turn up the waves. Eagles will scream and tear at the corpses with their yellow beaks. The ship of the dead will set sail.
Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of the voices in her head, the same voice actress did them, and I keep thinking to myself that she did a lot of work with all the voices that are going on in her head. I'm sure I'll die a few times. I think so far the area I died most in was the labyrinth with the fire creature. I was just running around and it kept on catching up to me no matter where I went.
She can do it. She can do it. She can still see the secrets of the gods.
And it does make me wonder if you die enough,
Special.
if the darkness that you know, was taking over her arm, actually, you had to start over or something.
She can see their secrets.
And there's something here. But I guess we'll get to that in a later part. I think I died more than 3 times. I kept on running into dead ends and I'd be like, I'm screwed.
There's an illusion. She's found a way. There's a way. She can see. She must align herself. She can do it. There's the...
Oh, I gotta go somewhere else? I was thinking it would be really neat because I get spazzed out pretty easily, that if I had some kind of heart rate monitor and hooked that up on stream to see how freaked out I am, that would be pretty funny. Well, I'm obviously missing a section for this bridge. Oh. Yeah, I'm like, I know there's other parts I have to discover, but... I know some people were saying that the puzzle aspect of this slows the gameplay down, but I tend to like puzzles, so... Oh, that's what I was feeling earlier. Yeah, I haven't been enjoying the battles as much as solving the puzzles. I don't know why it is, but when I feel like I'm in battles, it seems like my motions are delayed. So I don't feel like I'm getting the best hits in. But I kind of set it to easy, just because I really want to get through the story. Because I'm a wuss. I actually like puzzles a lot, so...
the Northmen say that at Ragnarok,
I guess that's
the
why I'm
gods
enjoying
will
it
face
a little bit
ship
more.
full of their foes, which Loki has steered to Asgard. It carries the fire giants, the wolf that will eat the sun, and all kinds of dark creatures. Surt will join them with his sword of fire. The cliffs will crash. Trolls will walk the land. Men will tread the road to hell, and the heavens will split open.
I've actually been really enjoying the mythology that they've talked about. I actually looked some of it up, and it seems like different sources say different things. I started out on auto, but I figured if I could change it to easy, I would. Like, half the reason I like playing some of these games is I want to find out what the real story is. Because I know with Senua, half of it's like... it's based on mental illness, but that was part of what was advertised in the game, so that's not a surprise. And since I'll be starting studying some mental illness this coming semester in school, we'll see how true to life it is. Well, I think this is a battle area. Oh, now I got two of these guys. All the guys. Thank goodness that was a shorter battle. Oh, really? Did you think her symptoms were true to what you looked up? Shiny sword is great. go up and see what else is up here. More story.
The Northmen said each god will do battle at Ragnarok. Odin will fight the monstrous wolf and be killed, but his son will avenge him and plunge his sword into the heart of the beast. Freyr will face Surt, but he had given his sword away for love, and without it, he cannot defend himself against the flames. Thor will smite the Midgard serpent to no avail. The sun will grow black, the earth will sink into the sea, the stars will disappear, fire and water will meet, steam will shoot up, flames will play against the sky, the heavens and earth and all the world will be burned, all the gods will be dead, and the warriors of Valhalla and the people everywhere. Senua, prepare yourself for Ragnarok, for it is nigh.
Yeah, I know they got specialists to go over, you know, the issues with mental illness so they could incorporate it into the character. Like, a lot of my experience, I do work in a hospital, so I've had to go up to the mental wing, and they told me, don't look anyone in the eye, don't make, you know, eye contact, don't look at anyone, look straight ahead. Like, that's my experience, but now that I'm a nursing student and I'll have to actually, you know, assist this coming semester with people with mental illness, I'll probably get a lot of different view on it. Oh, fight, fight, fight. Can I just kick him off the bridge? Yes. Can you guys just fall off the bridge?
Defend yourself. Get up quick.
Oh, I'm getting my ass kicked. Oh, totally got my ass kicked. Okay, let's try this again. I am not the best game fighter. Oh my gosh, how many guys are on this bridge?
Behind you! Focus! Now! Focus! You're stronger than focus.
I'm gonna die again.
Behind you!
Oh my goodness, thank goodness. So which way was I headed? This way.
She's here. The path to Hela. I can sense her.
Which one is the really...
She's getting closer to Hela.
Oh, the one when you're in, like, hell right after you get the sword? Like, the amount of guys you had to fight there was just crazy.
Wait. What happens when she dies? What happens to us? What happens to us?
Maybe because you were on auto and I'm on easy.
We'll all die someday. I don't want to die. And when everyone's gone, even the gods will die.
We don't want to die. I don't want to die. Senua, stop. Turn back. Stop. Stop. Why is she going? Stop. Senua, stop. What happens to us?
Maybe that's the difference between the settings, is how many enemies you actually get to fight.
I'm sorry. I didn't ask you to be a part of me.
Oh no.
If you don't want to die with me, then leave me alone.
Stop. I don't want to die. Please stop. 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 You'll never come back if you go there.
There is nothing to go back to.
We only have each other now. Don't abandon me.
Everyone suffers. They were right about me.
Listen to me, not them. They were afraid. Like children scared of the dark.
So was I.
They made up monsters to fill the void. That doesn't make them real.
They made them real.
No!
Follow your soul and let go of the Senua of old. For there lies your weakness, and the darkness will find it.
Valravn? With the illusions? I guess there's no going back.
Is it?
Oh, I guess you can go back.
The noble
Kind of,
warrior facing
no.
evil in search of victory and honor. Clear dividing lines. No. Oh, this place is not quite like that. It's as if it knows that true torment lies within.
Yeah, Valravn was cool.
Memories you cannot defeat. Cannot escape. This is her hell.
Oh, the sound effects and the music in this game have been awesome. But yeah, this is definitely a game you had to play with headphones on to get the full extent of the effects.
Mother! Don't be like this. No. Turn away, Senua! Turn away, Senua!
Do you see it, Senua? Do you see the darkness? Faces fear and suffering. I see it.
I remember it clearly now.
She has nothing to fear anymore. The gods have saved your mother. Through my hand.
You killed her.
It is the will of the gods.
Fuck the gods! You did this to her! Why?
This is what happens when you listen to the voices of the underworld. They crawl into your soul and rot you from the inside. Defy the gods like your mother, and the darkness will come for you too. You understand, son?
So I guess her father probably had her mother killed like a witch. Because I know back in the day, mental illness was thought of as like witchcraft or hearing voices. They didn't know how to treat it back then.
Cursed me with your own madness. I was just a child. You created this darkness! You created this darkness so you could hide behind it!
Only suffering brings salvation. It is the way of the gods.
Oh look, there's Hela.
You are a lie! She didn't defy the gods. She defied you. And so you killed her.
You didn't pray to the gods. You prayed to your mother. Your mother, who was too weak to fight the darkness and abandoned you.
You tortured her. You killed her. You are the darkness.
Yeah, I could see if she stopped listening to her father that she probably would have been killed by him too had she not left with Dillion. There's gonna be a lot of fighting now, isn't there?
Those rituals, the years of isolation, the pain that still haunts you.
It makes sense.
It was the only way to fight the curse within you.
And considering a lot of mental illness is passed down through generations, it would make sense that, you know, if her mother had mental issues, that she would probably get them as well.
I won't let you kill me.
This is where we fight all the things, huh? Oh no! Stop. Come on.
Through your darkness. You're a liar and a murderer. And if you really are Hela, then I have a sword here that can kill a god.
I'm actually getting to the point I guess I'm near the end, but I have about half an hour before I have to get ready to go to work. So, and then I won't have time to play tonight. So I might have to finish sometime tomorrow if this doesn't go as quickly as I hope. Oh.
Look at you. Run forward, moving backwards to wallow your miserable past. You're making a mistake searching for Dillion. The same mistake that killed him in the first place.
I actually don't know how well tomorrow is going to go, so I'm going to go to sleep early tonight as soon as I get home from work. Because they're calling for thunderstorms tonight into tomorrow, and we're booked to go skydiving tomorrow morning, so if the weather's bad, I guess I'm gonna wake up and go back to bed.
You saw it yourself.
You told everyone I was cursed. They believed you. I believed you.
Tell me, Senua. Where is Dillion's soul if the darkness is alive? How you save him?
He's here. I know he's here.
Yeah, they cancel if it's bad weather, so
Dillion,
we're the second jump of the day, so I have to wake up early to find out whether the weather's gonna cancel our booking. Oh, it's Valraven. Oh, keep dodging. Come on. Oh, are we gonna play with all the bosses now? No! Oh, they are kicking my ass. hope so too. Because we've been planning this for a couple weeks now. And I've never gone skydiving. It's like something on my bucket list.
Trying to trick me again with your lies. I know he's here. You took him from me. You have him.
Dillion is gone. Dillion is dead. Let him go now. I'm warning you.
Or what? What can you do to me that you haven't already? Fight me. Come on.
Oh my gosh, how many guys are here?
You betrayed the gods in search of Dillion, in search of love.
Apparently you can't fight Hella dead on.
Let go of your battle. Let go. Let go of Dillion. Don't let your darkness hurt anyone else.
Oh, come on. I'm like, where can I go where somebody won't be behind me here? Come on. I need to kill some guys here. No! Dodge! Oh.
Let go of your battle. Let go of the murderer. Stop it, Catherine.
Dodge! Oh my gosh. Ugh. I guess that's between auto and easy and hard. I wonder, I actually haven't looked at any spoilers for this, because I actually wanted to play it straight through without being spoiled. I wonder if there is a lose all progress ending, because they said if the darkness overtook you, if you failed too many times.
You want me to believe? After all you've done to me? And to him? You're not a lie, but you're a liar! You crawled into me to confuse me and deceive me. But I know it's him. I know you have him.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you my life. That's what you want, isn't it? My soul.
Oh,
Take
everybody's
it.
always willing to make a deal with the devil, aren't they?
I'll be a slave for you. I'll fight with you at Ragnarok. If you release him. But if you won't, you will have to kill me. Because I've got nothing left. No fear. No hate. No quest. Nothing. And you will have no power over me.
Yeah, that kind of sucks being run through.
I learned the hard way to not be afraid of death, so... Because a life without loss is one without love. You turn your back on death, and all you can see is the shadow that it casts. The longer you hide from it, the longer the shadow grows until all you can see is darkness. When our time comes, we must look death in the eye and embrace it as a friend. Only then can we let go of our fear. And emerge from our darkness.
Never forget what it is like to see the world as a child, Samuel. Every autumn leaf is like a work of art. Every rolling cloud a moving picture. Every day a new story. We too emerge from this magic, like a wave from the ocean, only to return to the sea. Do not mourn the waves, the leaves, and the clouds. Even in darkness, the wonder and the beauty of this world never leaves us. It is always there, waiting to be seen again.
This is where my story once began. And so it has to end here. Because I cannot see further than this.
Follow us. We have another story to tell.
My friend, go with her. This now will be your story to witness.
It's hard to tell how mixed up you feel. Hoping what you need is behind every door. Each time.
So essentially the whole story was her overcoming Dillion's death and dealing with it. That's an interesting journey.
The feeling sometimes wishing you were someone else. Feeling as though you never belong. This feeling is not sadness. This feeling is.
Yeah, I'm still kind of confused, but I guess it's a perspective. I guess she overcame her demons And boy, did she have some pretty big demons.
Well, this is something else. Who would comprehend that some that do lay claim divine purpose blesses them? Well, that's not what I believe.
But this was a fun game to play. I'll probably play it again at some point to see if I could see if maybe I can get her to be overcome by the darkness and see if that's actually a true thing. Yeah.
Please don't go. I want you to stay. I'm begging you, please. Please don't leave here. I don't want you to hate.
Professor, PhD.
The world is just illusion, trying to change you. Please don't go. I want you to stay. I'm begging you, please. Oh, please don't leave here. I don't want you to change for all the hurt that you feel. This world is just.
But I gotta say, this game really does get in your head between all the voices and the doubts and stuff that those voices pass on to you, especially when you're in the dark. That dark level was like one of the worst ones. Because I still have it in my head, like even walking around the house in the dark, like if you're ever in the basement, I still have to run out of the basement when I turn out the lights. Oh, did you get all the letters? I'm sure I missed a few because some of the stories seemed incomplete.
Please don't leave here. I don't want you to hate for all the hurt that you feel. The world is just illusion, trying to change you.
Oh, you missed 11?
Go. I want you to stay. I'm begging you, please. Oh, please don't leave here. I don't want you to.
I'm still kind of confused about how Dillian died. Or I just have already put it out of my head. Because I'm assuming it wasn't the plague. Because that seemed to kill everyone else. And we know now that her mother was actually killed. At first, I assumed that her death was a suicide. That he was sacrificed probably because of Senua. Oh look, they have help for psychosis at the very end. A disclaimer. I mean, that would have made sense. Do I get new options? Watch this after beating it first time.
She's dreamt of this before.
It's coming. Is it?
They say dreams are visions of our memories, thoughts, and fears, as seen by our inner eye. But what if each one of us is always dreaming, even when awake? And we only see what our inner eye creates for us. Is this what hell is? A world shaped by Senua's nightmares. Maybe that's why people fear seeing the world through her eyes.
Well, she probably also blames herself because everyone blamed her and told everything was her fault anyway.
But yours might be too.
Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is a video game about Senua, a Celtic warrior on a vision quest into Viking territory. But what sets our hero Senua apart is that she suffers from severe psychotic mental illness.
He knows she's getting closer. He can feel her coming closer. She's getting closer. They're watching. They're watching.
The original idea for Hellblade was to create a classic hero's journey, a journey of suffering, but one where the fantasy world is not another planet or alternate universe, but a world that is constructed in Senua's mind. But to do so would mean putting psychotic mental illness at the center of the experience, a subject that is still considered taboo, and a challenge that was both terrifying and exciting in equal measure. In Hellblade, the starting point was a newly discovered Celtic goddess called Senuna in Ashwell, Hertfordshire. When
I always
first
like
discovered,
behind the
her name was
scenes.
thought to be Senua, a name which I liked and kept. I wondered if Senua might have been a Celtic warrior like Boudica, who stood up to the Romans. While the Romans had conquered all of Europe, there was a group of Celts up in the furthest reaches of the Roman Empire that could not be conquered, the Picts. And so the Romans built a wall, called Hadrian's Wall, that spans across Britain from sea to sea to keep the Pictish barbarians at bay. The Picts were known for their war paint, painted on with woad, and their matted hair clumped with lime. And so Senua would be a barbarian Pict in this image.
What's your name?
Senua,
I haven't seen you before.
I don't live home much.
Oh, Zeno's daughter.
I have to go.
Wait.
Orkney is off the coast of Scotland and was inhabited by the Picts, steeped in history and mystery, and so I made Orkney Senua's home and set the stage for a crisis. In the late 8th century, the first Vikings landed on the Orkney Islands. The population of the Picts crashed thereafter, replaced by the Norsemen of the 9th century. Were they wiped out? We don't know for sure, but it would seem likely given the reputation of the Vikings. The Northmen's brutality is legendary. High-ranking leaders and chieftains of the tribes they conquered were often offered as sacrifice to their gods. The most brutal of these sacrifices was known as the Blood Eagle.
I know all about the Blood
Senua
Eagle.
is a young female
Has a
warrior who
horrible
returns
torture.
home from exile to find her partner, Dillion, brutally sacrificed to a Norse god by these hellish warriors from a faraway land.
Oh, okay.
I imagine the horror of this moment and how it would have dragged her deep into mental torment.
One of my former roommates knew so much about medieval torture. It was ridiculous. And the things they did to people were horrific.
I came to learn that the Celts had a sophisticated and
I'll have to
nuanced
suggest this
perspective on the
game to
nature of
her.
mental disorder. One term they used was gelt. A gelt is a man or
The
woman
Blood
who is
Eagle,
mad by
they
a curse,
essentially
passion, or grief.
slit your back
The gelt would
and
take to a
pulled
life
out
in
your
the woods in
lungs.
search of penance,
So
punishment, and
without,
purgation.
you
And
know,
so Senua
your
became a
muscles
Celt, cursed
creating
by
the vacuum
darkness,
for you to
looking for
breathe,
redemption in the
your
world.
lungs deflated, and you would slowly suffocate to death. And since your
Another word the
lungs were
Celts
now
used to
hanging out your
reference to mental
back, they looked
disorders
like
was
wings.
Hugh, meaning fool,
So
or
that was the
one
Blood
who
Eagle.
utters the words of God. They tell of the mad sinner who flees battle into exile and takes on a beastly nature, growing feathers on his body. The character called Ruth in Hellblade is based on a little-known person called Findan, an 8th century Irish Celt who was captured and enslaved by the Vikings, but eventually escaped to Orkney where he became a monk.
I will tell you my stories of hell, if I may walk with you.
Upon meeting Senua, it would be his stories that fuel her quest deep into their world of gods.
The Northmen say the world will come to an end. The sun will grow black, the earth will sink into the sea, the stars will disappear.
Yeah, Blood Eagle was pretty horrific. I mean, they also had, you know, the stake, which actually Vladimir Dracul is actually known for, where they would put people up on stakes and they would slowly die over about a week because they would slide down the stake. They start them at the top and their own body weight would pull them down onto the stake. There was another one where they like sawed people in half starting from the crotch and working their way up.
One that we would experience through her eyes.
This is your mission. This is your quest. There is nothing else left.
To make a game about a warrior with psychotic mental illness as its central theme was fraught with danger. Mental illness such as psychosis is still taboo and rarely acknowledged in a century of cinema, never mind the new medium of games. Where it does feature, it often conflates psychosis and psychopathy associated with a lack of empathy. It is unfortunate that these two words sound so similar that they are used interchangeably in media. I must admit that I didn't have to look very far to discover my own ignorance of the subject. So we reached out to Paul Fletcher, psychiatrist and professor of health neuroscience at University of Cambridge.
Psychosis is a descriptive term, and it refers to having a loss of contact with objective reality. So it's characterized by two main sets of symptoms. One of them is hallucinations, where somebody experiences perceptions when there is no actual objective thing out there to perceive.
Who are you?
And the other is delusions, where somebody comes to very often bizarre, unpleasant, frightening beliefs when there's no good evidence in favour of them.
There's no doubt about it. The source of the darkness is in Helheim.
Yeah.
And the goddess Hela holds his soul there.
We reached out to Welcome, a biomedical research charity that spends billions on research and awareness programs aimed at improving health.
Mental health hasn't always been presented in the media in a way that is particularly helpful. It can be challenging to engage people with the subject matter, and there are a lot of preconceived ideas about mental health, and particularly schizophrenia and psychosis. So we hope our support allows the team to continue to collaborate with Paul Fletcher and with those who have experience of psychosis to create a game that provides a fresh perspective on the condition and allows audiences to engage with it in a way that just wouldn't be possible in any other medium.
What started out as a brief consultation convinced me that we were only scratching the surface of an immensely deep and interesting subject that could enrich and change the very nature of the game.
That's cool. Thanks so much for coming here.
Pleasure. Thanks. It was really interesting for me, and I'd love to be involved. I think it's fascinating.
Our understanding of psychosis is still very much a mystery, and ways of treating it are still primitive compared to physical illness. After all, it is easy to see the pain and suffering caused by physical diseases or physical trauma. It is not so easy to see the mental suffering and trauma of severe mental illness. But what if we could find a way to see it? Games are capable of drawing you in for hours on end, playing the role of a character who is different from you, experiencing their perspective, and actively involving you in a world that functions with a different set of rules. If we were to represent Senua's psychosis, we would have to simulate voice hearing, a common attribute. But how can we simulate something we have no first-hand experience of? Professor Charles Fernyhough, a leading expert in voice hearing from Durham University, offered his help.
Hearing voices is an experience that is usually associated with severe mental illness, and crucially we know that hearing voices is a part of ordinary life for many people who don't meet the criteria for mental illness.
Yeah. Oh, that's not him in real life.
We know voices vary according to where they appear in space. Voices can appear far away in the distance, they can appear right there in your ear, they can seem to be coming from inside your head.
Based on the information Professor Fernyhough provided, I put together a sound brief and invited some actors to the studio. We recorded the actors using a binaural microphone, which records the 3D spatial position of sound, replicating the way sound is heard by human ears. It gives you an incredible sense that the person you are listening to is right there beside you.
Can't see how she's going.
Rachel Waddingham from the Voice Collective came to our studio with 2 young voice hearers to speak to our team. We talked at length about their experiences and they listened to our tests, giving us feedback on how we could improve on it.
Everyone hates her. She's cursed.
It's very hard to represent what this experience is like, partly because it's such a personal, intense, emotional experience. It's testament to how Ninja Theory have been listening to what the researchers are saying, but also crucially listening to the experts by experience. What they've come up with is so compelling. It's by far the best representation I've heard of what these experiences are like.
Other common attributes of psychosis are visions and flashbacks. We met with Recovery College East, who work with and care for people recovering from severe mental disorders. A group of service users gave us their first-hand account of what they experience.
Sometimes when the visions or what we're seeing is too much, it becomes more difficult until eventually we perhaps don't see anything.
The people we spoke to, the stories they told, were fascinating, harrowing and mind-boggling. The reality of what people experienced was vivid, far exceeding what I could possibly have imagined. We went away itching to represent some of these visions and flashbacks in the game.
Hands will know my heart is so, love is so far away. Don't you know how I wanna feel deeper? I could never know how you grow, all these days are killing me. Now I see deep in me insanity does unfold. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper. Hands will know my heart is so, love is so far away. Don't you know how I wanna feel deeper? I could never know how you grow, all these days are killing me. Feel like this, read like this, I just wanna live, that's all. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper.
To refine our work, we continue to hold meetings with Recovery College East over the course of a year and a half, showing them what we had achieved so far and refining the in-game representations based on their feedback. With their help, flashbacks, visions and changes in perception were woven into the story and gameplay of Senua.
The students that are involved in this project are incredibly excited about being involved. They have described the experience as being important because it values their lived experience and shows that despite what we have been through, all of that experience becomes valid, that actually it's something that we should all be talking about.
The experiences described range from beautiful to frightening beyond comprehension. I heard of a girl who has to live with an angry voice screaming at her, slamming on her doors and walls 24 hours a day. I met someone who would often see hanging corpses in a room, so real that she would sometimes try to rescue them. The panic and fear that comes with such visions is entirely understandable, and it can be a living horror for some.
Worthless, weak, pathetic. Go on, feel sorry for yourself, because there is no one left to do that for you.
I was urged by one fellow that we should not shy away from showing this horror, and so I was perpetually torn in making Hellblade. Had we gone too far with our representations, or not far enough?
Broken and lost. Just like your soul.
Come on.
In some ways, voice hearing and visions were the low-hanging fruit, so to speak. There's another aspect of psychosis that is much harder to explain, but one that I think video games are uniquely able to represent, which are often called delusions.
People begin to see patterns in the world. They begin to link things that most people wouldn't link. Most of the things that we might think would be coincidence or not worth commenting on. Nevertheless, that might have a particular salience or importance for them.
One individual described how everyday words, sounds, colours and objects were steeped in meaning to him, forming a strange and sinister puzzle that he was determined to solve but could not quite get to the bottom of.
It's not just brain dysfunction, it's not like the system shut down. It's actually an incredibly creative process. The person creates a world populated with voices and phantasms and terrors, and they're completely immersed in it. They believe in it.
We often invite people into the studio to play the game. In one of our playtests, they played through much of the game, making associations between runes, secret messages, and the threat of darkness that stalked them. There are many things that happen in the world of Hellblade that make perfect sense within the context of Senua's mind. The dark rot that's killing her slowly from within, the secret runes of the gods that block her path to Helheim, and strange associations that exist in the game to confuse you. To complete Senua's quest, you have to internalize and accept the logic and meaning behind these things to progress. Afterwards they said that they didn't see much evidence of mental illness in the game. People with delusions of all sorts would argue the same thing, that they are not aware of their experience being abnormal in any way.
I need this sword. It's important.
Representing perception changes and thinking patterns within Hellblade gives us a set of symptoms common in psychosis. But people with lived experience were keen to emphasize another point, that it is wrong to define a person by their symptoms. Quite often, the illness comes not from the symptoms, but from the stigma, isolation and mistreatment that comes about from the rest of society.
They say that I'm cursed. What if they're right?
I needed someone to portray Senua, someone who could believably internalize her suffering. Melina Jurgens, our video editor, had been a stand-in for Senua over a few months while we perfected our motion capture techniques. Without realizing it, she had already auditioned for the role, and I knew her well enough to know that I didn't have to teach her to act, but to relive her own internal pain. As often is the case, those who have suffered mental anguish are never far from us. My hope is that by creating a compelling and aspirational character in Senua who feels very much real, albeit in a fantasy setting, we can provide a lens into her reality, a different one to yours, and this is where storytelling comes into play. I imagined her life based on common threads in real people's lives. She was always prone to psychosis as a child. Her mother Galina also heard voices and had visions, so perhaps there was a genetic aspect. Or perhaps it was cultural, as she lived within a world without science, of gods and superstition, as exemplified by her druid father Zimbal. Psychosis developed in her late teens to early 20s and was exacerbated by stigma and isolation at the hands of the clansmen and her father.
This darkness. It's spreading.
The trauma of seeing her lover Dillian sacrificed tips her over the edge, making her remodel her reality around a concept that connects everything: the darkness. So the question, is what Senua experiences real? Can only be answered by saying, yes, it is real. It is her reality.
All of her suffering will have been for nothing. It's just a matter of time.
Towards the end of the project, service users and professionals that had collaborated with us were invited to see the near-final game. It was a chance to see if the game had reflected their views or if it had misrepresented them.
For me, being involved in especially developing Senua's character has been really important, and being able to bring in my perspective and what I see and what I hear, and having that built into the game has been a real privilege. It's gritty and it's meaty, and there are some tough subjects in there that are being tackled with honesty.
I was blown away by it today, absolutely blown away. It was just fantastic to get the opportunity to use our lived experience in a very creative way. There's nothing tokenistic about the work we've put in. It feels like we've we've been listened to, things have been taken on board, and I think there was a lot of realism in the game itself, and it feels very authentic.
Hellblade will give people a good experience of what it's like to hear voices and have those experiences. I'm glad that the guys at Ninja Theory have asked us to come along and help them build an experience that's positive when it comes out, and get myself a copy and have a go.
I think all the way through I was really inspired by how the conversations have translated into the game in a way that I think I didn't imagine was possible. So wonderful, really wonderful.
I really hope that others will follow the lead they've set and use the power of something like a video game to change people's perceptions, to increase understanding, and ultimately to make some of the stigma around voice hearing and other experiences go away.
For me, it was really exciting to see something that I explore scientifically being represented so beautifully in a character who's trying to penetrate the mysteries of the environment in which they've been placed, with all of this strange uncertainty and noise and conflicting information that they're getting. I'm very excited by this way of trying to represent mental illness, because I think it actually might be offering us insights that we wouldn't get from pure scientific explorations, and actually giving us quite an empathic view of what it might be like.
Mental illness has been with us for as long as we have been on this planet, but why? Why hasn't evolution stamped out this weakness from within our gene pool? I often pondered this question until I realized that the question had an inbuilt flaw. It assumes that being and thinking differently is a weakness. The only reason we have computers, spacecraft, medicine, poetry, art, and yes, even video games is because individuals are able to simulate new abstract realities in their minds and share them with the rest of us. We need people to be willing to see differently in order for us to progress and survive as society. And we need to be open to these new ways of seeing. And it is this spirit that motivated me to create Senua's story and share it with you.
That was really neat. Well, thank you for joining me today, Twisted. And I have to go now, or I'll be late for work. So you have a good one. And that will be it for today. See y'all around.